your opponent's wall. All in all, you can see from these clips
That should not be there.
top tier pro low ground again. Moving on, the second start is something I learned from Parallel Psycho. It's a little more advanced than the other ones, but not too crazy or too difficult to pull off. What you want to do is start with your
Make that up. So there. Hit a rifle cone, but double it out.
left, and then again, throw out a ramp and cone. You can finish with 190 to the left and 2 ramps that I'll usually cone off and use to stay on high ground. I really like this retake because it's safe, as you never get in a position to get ramped over at the start, and there's 2 different opportunities to block off your opponent.
Right, so
the first is after you build the 2 walls on top of your fake cone. If your opponent tries the famous quick start that basically everyone does now, they'll end up stuck under the ramp on low ground. Then the other opportunity comes as soon as you do the second fake cone. If your opponent is a scumbag like Zane, who does 90s to height limit, they'll meet you at this point and try to ramp over you. However, because the cone is there, they cannot. So instead, they'll try to ramp up to the right. By this time, you'll be just below the fake ramp and perfectly in range to cone them. Once they're coned, you can take high ground and go for a shot. Here's a clip of Parallel Psycho using this start, who, by the way, rarely, if ever, loses 1v1s. He doesn't end up catching the guy with those initial ramps at the beginning, but he does manage to cone the guy at the end and slow him down enough to secure high ground. Also, let me point out that he was never in any danger of getting shot at or ramped over himself. The final example is a different variation from Evade Carry You. We see him cone off the double ramps on top of the wall, and then instead of doing a left 90, he uses the cones to do a
left 90 and then a right 90.
The other way. The third retake is a new trick that allows you to gain 2 levels faster than any 90s in the game, and of course, gain high ground straight from the get-go. What you're doing is jumping and building a ramp, floor, and then landing on another ramp. So with one jump, you're essentially going up 1.5 levels. I believe this was discovered by Parallel Beats, but I myself learned it from the gamer couple. My tip for mastering it is to start easy with just the ramp and floor. To do that, position yourself at the top left side of your floor, look straight down, and then when you're at the peak of your jump, turbo build a ramp, then floor. You'll end up phasing through the floor for about 1/4 of a second, and then it'll push you up on top. Be aware, the timing and positioning is extremely important here, because if you build too early, you'll end up under the ramp, and if you build too late, you'll end up under the floor. Go ahead and practice that until you master it and can land on the floor every single time. Next, you're going to add in the second ramp. This is the tricky part because you have to land at the very bottom of it. That's why I turn to the right and place the ramp in the other direction. Again, practice that until you can pull it off with ease and you're finally ready to do it in a 1v1. Just place down the floor, pull off the trick, and finish it off with some 90s. The gamer couple did some tests to see how much faster this trick is than traditional 90s, and the results were insane. To go up just 3 levels, normal triple 90s takes a full second longer than utilizing this new trick. I know that may not sound like a lot of time, but in any 1v1 start, a full second can make or break your entire fight. Altogether, if you're looking for a cheeky start that will definitely catch your opponent off guard, this is the one for you. The fourth and final start I'm going to show is a neat little move I learned from my fellow tips and tricks YouTuber, Exalted. Start by doing a 1-jump double 90, which if you don't know how to, just do a regular 90, and as soon as you land, 90 again without jumping, so you're basically running up the second 90. Back to the start, you're then going to jump forward to place a wall, turn to your right, place a cone above you, and build a ramp. At this point, you can either edit out through the cone and up for high ground, or what I like to do is use my momentum and do an elevated cone jump out to the side. The main reason this start works is because if you throw up that wall, your opponent won't be able to ramp or cone over you, and will instead have to ramp off of it. While they do that though, you'll already be doing your cone jump out to the side and be a level above them on height. This is why I say to jump and place the wall.
That makes no sense.
By the way, the version Exalted shows is a little simpler as he does normal 90s and then runs up to place the wall. So I guess either way works. But just be aware, you can get ramped over if you don't jump forward to place the wall, like I showed in mine. Overall, my friends, those are 4 of the fastest 1v1 starts in Fortnite. I kid you not when I say a majority of top creative players use at least one of these starts. My go-to has to be the booty cone, not only because of how simple yet effective it is, but it's got the best name ever. Let me know down below which your favorite start was, as well as which start you're currently using. Also, if you enjoyed the video, then do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code Jarian. For some reason, I'm still getting tweets and messages from people who are using the wrong code. Apparently, some weirdo made a code called It's Jarian, but that is not my creator code, so please do not use it. My creator code is Jarian, not It's Jarian. Use code Jarian. Don't worry if you've been using the wrong code, just make sure you use the right one now. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Why did that not edit all the time? So bullshit.
It is literally free money. Why would you not install it? Honey.
Oh my god, you're so gay. Get the fuck off my screen, bro.
Solo Cups have become super popular since the beginning of Chapter 2. With the
sellers.
platform and Solo Cash Cups running every Wednesday and Thursday. Pros like Benji, Mr. Savage, and Booga have consistently dominated these Cash Cups since the first ones, and that's why today we're going to be analyzing some clips from Booga's first place run in the Solo Platform Cash Cup, where he got 87 points and he shocked the entire region. We're going to be digging deep to see, like, what is that Booga does to be so consistently dominant in these cups. What's going on, guys? It's the Motivation Guy. That's right, your friend, the one and only Keith Allen. Just want to inspire you guys to be great, not only in this game, but also in life, all right? I'm spreading positivity to you, so spread it to other people. Connect with me on my Instagram. I would love to hear from you guys. But before we start this video, if you guys are looking to get better at Fortnite, click the link below to go to ProGuides.com, where you can play with the best players in the world. Sign up for our membership at ProGuides, and you're going to get a ton of incredible content from the best pro players like Benji and Mongrel, and more World Cup champions coming soon. If you want to compete in Fortnite, you got to check out ProGuides.com. Alright guys, so it's time to sit back, relax, get my favorite candy, that bunch of crunch, and let's get this going. First, we're going to analyze Booga's first game of the tournament, specifically his first fight-off spawn and how he handles it to come out of early game with good health, weapons, and consumables even when he's contested. If you're trying to get good loot in these cups, your spot will almost always be contested, so this is just so important to learn from, alright? So let's just take a look. Alright, so the first thing Booga does before his drop, he scouts around for other players, and he checks where they're going. This awareness helps him because he's constantly knowing where people are going to be, giving him an edge in early games. Booga spots one other player with a high drop, so he knows immediately that the player won't contest his building, unless he's crazy and he just wants to die off spawn. Booga tries to peek through the window to get a few surprise shots, but the opponent unfortunately isn't in his sight. Instead of pushing with only a pistol, he takes a few steps back and he goes to loot, knowing that his building has better materials and loot, giving him an edge. You know, it's so important to know your drop spot well, so you can not only loot efficiently, but know where to drop and which opponents are likely to be worse off than you are. Booga hears his opponent building and walking over toward him, so he immediately sets up to fight. He's confident going into this fight, since he has a green AR and a tactical shotgun, along with extra shields in case they're needed. He immediately gets rid of the window wall so his opponent can't peek, and he's ready to box fight. He sees his opponent in the back of the tile in front of him, right? So he takes this opportunity to ramp over him. This is great because it puts the opponent in a small, confined space and gives him the ability to play different angles and edits. Booga essentially has complete control over his opponent now. His opponent hops out to the side, but Booga immediately covers him from above and edits down for an easy 75 damage shot. This is a great example of why you should always play from above in box fights, because your opponent will struggle to get shots off on you while you have the ability to peek whenever you want. After this, Booga realizes his opponent only has an SMG, since he would have used his shotgun by now if he had one. Knowing this, he takes the 50-50 fight, knowing it's greatly in his favor. After all, he has a tac shotgun, and his opponent has an SMG. Unless his opponent has an aimbot, then it's a pretty easy kill. And that's exactly what it was. Booga quickly cleans up the kill with no issues. This clip is a great example of Booga's awareness during fights. He knew his opponent didn't have a shotgun solely by just looking at his weapon usage. And took advantage of that by forcing him into a close-range fight in the open. Along with that, this clip also shows the importance of knowing your drop spot so you can just ensure you have better loot when fighting in early game. Alright guys, so this next clip is a real treat. In this one, we're going to analyze how Booga handles his late game. He has 150 HP, almost maxed out in materials, 2 floppers, and 6 minis. The 5th zone pops up on his map, and he immediately begins to plan his route there. Looking around in front of him, he sees a long wooden tunnel and decides to head over to it, since it doesn't look like it's occupied. Using your opponent's builds to rotate is super helpful, guys, as it's just really hard to conserve materials in this low mobility meta. Once he gets to the tunnel, this guy realizes there's a player rotating under him. Would you take this fight if you're Booga? Booga decides that this player isn't a threat, and he's just already set up for a great rotation, so he decides to hold off on this fight. After this, Booga looks around, and he sees that the coast is mostly clear, and that he can rotate in the open. So, Booga takes this opportunity to run straight to the zone without building, but he's always ready to build if he gets shot at. He continues to use as little build as possible to get to the zone, so he has more to tunnel in later zones. Once he gets in, instead of just building a giant base or contesting height, he sits comfortably, chilling, relaxed, in a metal box on low ground. Keeping his materials in mind, this whole rotation cost him a total of about 200 materials. He's going to have way more material than his opponents going into the final zones, and we're going to see later how much this really benefits him. Oh no! Oof. A player above Booga decides to spam grenades at him. However, Booga makes a safe, easy play here by just moving out of his box. Instead of spam building inside your box when you get naded, just exit the box into another one like he does. Once the enemy is stopped, he builds his box. Instead of wasting 200 to even 300 materials spam building around to tank the grenades, he spent about 50 on a new box to avoid them as a whole. We can really see how his materials are starting to benefit him now, as he's got over 1,000 going into the 5th zone, while most of his opponents probably have a few hundred and are desperately looking to raise that number. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. The 6th zone has popped up, and it's definitely a rough one. This zone is pretty much like the furthest it can get from Booga, so he immediately hops out of his box to start the rotation. If he rotated late on this zone, he'd get held in the storm and have no way to survive. Someone gets a lucky laser on him from behind, but not to worry, this is why pros carry heals in late game all the time. Getting lasered is just the norm for Booga. Booga heals up, and he gets back in the game right away. So we see here that Booga is near the point and tries to score some shots on him. If you were Booga, would you take the fight far from safety, or would you continue rotating to secure a better spot in later zones? If you choose the second option, you're correct. Booga decides to continue rotating, as his opponent likely has been held and is still pretty far from the zone. Note how even at this point in the game, he's still focused on preserving his materials, and only starts to use a bit of wood once he's ready to tunnel in. Booga sees that high ground isn't heavily contested apart from one little brick box, but ultimately decides once again to preserve his materials and wait until later to push height. Alright, so keep in mind that tarping on height takes 1 or 2 builds per tile, which can add up really fast. At this point, Booga's just trying to look for something called an impact frag. Okay, so an impact frag is a late game kill with the goal of getting more materials, loot, or even setting yourself up for a better position. We can see Booga is low on materials, so this is just the reason he's searching for an impact frag. He sees a player in a box near him, right? And decides to take a few shots. He ends up getting a brutal laser on this player, and tries to push in for the kill. However, the zone is starting to get closer. So Booga decides to wait a bit before getting this frag. He uses a low material tunnel with a floor and
what are you doing?
And sets up a quick metal box once he gets there. Okay, so at this point, Booga knows he absolutely needs a flag. And he only has 17 builds left. He gets RPG down, so he only has 6 after basing back up. But wait.
I'm back.
As Booga is able to break down
Where's this kid?
him 2 easy kills and an opportunity to push
yeah,
up.
shots.
Alright, so after building up a bit, he now has control over
I
the
like
entire
fire
lobby.
puff.
With his RPG, he gets a beautiful elimination on Sizz, Lucky, another pro player, but wait, he's out of materials. This is the beauty of impact frags, guys. Booga decides to target the player second from height, and he's tunneling and likely has a lot of mats. He scores a beautiful headshot with his purple
What was
pump.
that?
The enemy makes the deadly mistake of going near his head. Don't do that. And look, Booga's back to 600 material just like that. Has high ground and only has 2 enemies left. Beautiful. With this RPG, materials, and high ground, Booga continues to look down and go for any angles possible. Once it's a 1v1, he scores a beautiful RPG
Get in my
shot
box,
on
kid.
his opponent, continues to put on pressure and hold height until his opponent runs out of materials.
What am I doing?
Circle, scoring himself
What the hell?
a win. 9
I'm dead.
kills and a trip straight up the leaderboard. Alright, so we can take away a lot from these 2 games. So let's
Wait, what am I actually doing right now?
So first things first, guys. We can see how well
I'm literally
Booga
one
knows
shot.
his drop spot.
I'm dying for
And
this
how
kid,
his
right?
drop gets him better loot and more materials. Second, we can see how Booga uses sound to his advantage to tell where his opponent is, to make sure he...
I don't understand that. I walked in a fucking place.
Finally,
One HP. Yeah, look at James. Shut up. He's dead. Oh, you're kidding me. You're kidding. Oh my god. So laggy. That wall didn't fucking place.
Second, we can see his perfect impact frag strategy, where he finds off-guard opponents to get quick kills, on to just replenish his health and materials. Third, Booga's early rotations not only put him in the best position, but set him up for easy kills on late rotators. And finally, man, his use of high ground in the final zones is completely unmatched. Booga got 5 kills from high ground in the final 3 zones, simply by holding height and using his RPG to its max potential. Booga, this guy is an absolute mastermind when it comes to solos. Video, you're going to be one step closer to dominating solo arena and cash cups just like he does. Keep in mind, practice. But you know what? Guy, hope you enjoyed this video. Want to tell you once again the activity wherever you go.
Yeah, no shit. We don't want to listen to you anymore.
We really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to use code PROGUYS.
Why can I not like... That don't make sense.
About Buzz. I know you lot have been waiting for this one. And believe me, we ain't
Oh, turn down, man.
until we got another classic. So
Are you kidding me?
what they really want. Man about Buzz.
We're back. Are you kidding me right now? What is this loot, brother? What is this chest? Oh, I don't know. What am I doing? Looting. But it's not. Oh, shit. My days. Right. Why is my... What is that? Why is it so like... What the fuck? What the hell? Just sounds like I'm underwater. But just kill me, I need to fix it anyway. Look at this sweat. This is so funny. But how do you do? Kill me please. Thank you. Come on, hurry up, let me leave. Yeah.